Should you buy a pure species of Nepenthes or hybrids? There is a lot of controversy about that. Some are really pro species, some others like the hybrids. So today we will see why and what are the pros and cons. So coming up. Hi, my name is Remy and I love Nepenthes. So this controversy about should you buy pure species or hybrids, pure species being better and hybrids being like second low-tier plants, I'm not sure I agree with that because it depends what you want to accomplish with these plants. For example, there is some hobby, the poisoned dart frog, the Dendrobates, that I raised when I was back in France for a decade, and you don't want to mix them because they are super unique. And if you mix two kind of species, you will have like a bastard that nobody wants to buy. Okay, so it's really special, but for orchids, at the opposite. People mix all the time. There is some pure species, obviously, but sometimes you will find, oh, this is a cross between this one, and it will make a new color, a new shape of flower, and it's good. So it really depends how you see the world, in black and white, or if you love gray. So the first part will be explaining you how works the hybrids and why they are not bad, but just different. I will also talk about the pros and cons of the pure species and the hybrids. And that's gonna be in the second part of the video. So now let's jump to the first part, how I see hybrid of Nepenthes. We all saw this image on Facebook. It's a really easy way to picture what can be a hybrid. On the genes, you will have a quarter of plants that will be one species, and then that could trigger or not some genes and some look. But I have another vision of what is it. So first, let's see the color. There is three colors. Primary color, the red, the blue, and the yellow. So then, if you mix two of them, you will have a secondary color. Then you will have access to more color. Those colors are not less good than the primary. They are just different, and they even be complementary. But still, then you have everything in between those two. You have a lot of colors. From three single potentially plants or color, you can have a plenty of different kind. For example, we also see that truncata is really different compared to veitchii. But then there is two species that are kind of in the middle, almost like an hybrid, natural hybrid. And then beyond veitchii, you have mollis, that is kind of a veitchii, but far away from a truncata. Let's take another example, the Louii veitchii by Botsiana. So those three colors, because they will be hybrids, I will just reduce the opacity by 50% because they will mix together. And then if I was to take the Louii mixed with veitchii, it produces a different color. And if I cross it again with Botsiana, that's going to be another color. It's not a bad color. Pure species will be different compared to the complex hybrid, and even the simple hybrid, the Louii veitchii, will be slightly different compared to all of them. But none of them are bad. It's just a different color. Each species will be slightly different. Some are very unique. For example, Inermis, with almost no lead and no peristome. You will have the Bicalcarata, the one with the two big teeth. That's great as it is, but if you cross it, the teeth will be like really tiny, almost non-existent. So I don't see the point of hybrid of this species. You will have also the Albomarginata, the one with the kind of a color, white color. That's really, really unique, and because it's so unique, you don't want to make an hybrid out of it. The hybrid won't have this nice white color. It's gonna be something in between, and for those, I agree, it's not great. But at the opposite, some species will really be good for hybrids. For example, if you use the veitchii, they will have a wild peristome, great peristome. if you mix them with something that is also having a beautiful big peristome, they won't fight each other. If you hybrid this big peristome with one inerbis that is almost don't have any peristome, then you will have something in between, and that's gonna be blah. But if you have like in the same kind of word or look, the mollies will have big stripes, a lot of stripes, and it will be more tall. But if you hybrid that with something like the VCI that will tend to have a big peristome, the mollies already has big peristome that roll, but this one will be less rolled, more flared, the nice stripes, everything. So that's going to be a good hybrid for me. It serves a purpose. Same for all the Truncata hybrid. Truncata as itself is good, I love it, but not really unique. Now, mix that with something with a big peristome, a flared peristome like VCI, that's gonna be cool. Mix that with something different like a molly, for example. Would be great if you have some reddish or complex hybrid that are good, but you want them bigger. The only point of Truncata will be making the offspring bigger, because that's a big picture. The hybrids, if it serves a purpose because you want to have a special shape, then that's gonna be good. But again, some species won't be the greatest because they are too unique, and you don't want to mix that with something and have something that is less unique. So the pros and cons of species. You will have access to all the unique species, Albomarginata, Bicalcarata, Inermis, Dubia, all those ones. So you will have something that is totally different compared to another species that you own. That's going to be great also to do hybrids. If you want to do simple hybrids, like for example Truncata by VCI, you will have to have the two pure species. If not, it will be a complex hybrid. Now the cons. It's that usually the pure species demand exactly the perfect condition. They are less tolerant to, less light that they should have, or too hot, or less humid, etc. So they will tend to be exactly perfect for their own condition, where they come from. But now trying to replicate that will be harder. Another cons is the nursery that will want to sell this kind of a pure species, if it's not tissue culture, if it's seed grown, they will have to have a female parent and a male parent of the same species flowering in the same time. That means it's way harder to produce pure species seeds than hybrid seeds. So usually the price will raise accordingly. Pros and cons of hybrids now. That's pretty obvious. That's an hybrid between two plants. If one of the parents is a lowland plant that demands warm nights, and the other parent is a highland that demands cool night, then the hybrid will need something in between. Not too warm at night, not too cold at night. Something perfect for a windowsill, for example, in your house. And then that's gonna make the plants way easier to grow. That's why usually we say it's more robust grower, because even if the conditions are not perfect, then they will be able to handle it, to grow properly, and they will be, stronger than a sensitive pure species. Another pros is if it's an hybrid, it's okay to make seeds out of it if you have pollen from a pure species or another hybrid. It's totally fine. You won't have to have the exact same pure species flowering at the same time. You can just take a VCI by Truncata and hybrid that with another species like Platykyla. That will still be something looking good. The cons of an hybrid is if it's already a complex hybrid, some people won't want the pollen of these plants because it's already quite complex and there is not a real point of make it even more complex hybrid that will start to lose the special trait of the pure species. On the other hand, you can have a complex hybrid and you want to change its shape. For example, if you have a VCI bladykali, you can always cross it back with VCI plus something else. The two VCI will just make the peristome more flared. Maybe the VCI bispectabilis was less flared, but then because it was crossed with another VCI, you have in this 4 parents, 2 are VCI. So clearly it will be more on the VCI side. And let's be honest, do you really think those 2 parents will produce an ugly plant and with ugly pictures? No, it will probably look fantastic. It won't be the same as a pure VCI, obviously, but it will be different. If you want to see the plants I grow on my windowsill, here is a video for you. If you want to support the channel, please use the super thanks button or support the Grow 10 project. Until next time, happy growing!